And so as India hits back with the visa agreement today, will the dialogue with Pakistan take a backseat overall? Joining us tonight, senior Congress leader and Rajya Sabha MP Mani Shankar Iyer, who's with us from Kolkata. We have senior BJP leader Sheshadri Chari with us. Also tonight, Lieutenant General V.G. Patankar, who was a corps commander in the Kashmir Valley at times when there was much trouble there. He joins us tonight. We have Satish Chandra, the former Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan, Dr. Radha Kumar, Director General of the Delhi Policy Group, who's also been an interlocutor for Jammu and Kashmir. We're also joined by Praveen Swami, Senior Associate Editor of The Hindu, and we'll be going across to Musharraf Zaidi, Senior Political Analyst in Pakistan from Islamabad shortly. Mr. Iyer, let me ask you first. I know you have a very contrarian view on the issue of dialogue with Pakistan and the need to keep people-to-people contact intact. So today, when you heard about this visa agreement being put on hold all of a sudden, what did you think? Do you think it's the right step?
I'm saddened. I'm not sure that stopping old fogies from crossing the border constitutes a strong response. But I know that the government had to take some steps, and they've taken this. It's perhaps the least harmful of the steps that could have been taken. And I'm glad that the dialogue is not being disrupted. And I do believe that all the complaints that we have should be made directly to the Pakistanis, even as our brigadier made clear to his counterpart what our views were, and the DGMOs have been doing the same. So let the dialogue continue, and as and when it's as early as possible, please allow these old fogies, these doddering old fogies who are senior citizens, to come and see their sisters and their brothers, their nephews and their aunts. I don't think countries which have a civilized relationship with each other should be taking out on innocent senior citizens their anger against the government. Well, it's been done. I don't think it will do any permanent harm.
Sure, but let me take that to Mrs. Chandra, because so when I first heard about this, since the government was maintaining all these days that it was not going to do anything to the visa pact, the first thing that struck me was, well, imagine there would be elderly people that came to Wagah today because it was supposed to kick off today, who were hoping to have crossed over, and how sad that this happened like this. What is the strategic advantage that we gain from not letting elderly people and little children cross over into each other's countries?
You're right there that really how does this help India? But I'd like to take what Mr. Mani Shankar Iyer said. I think that stronger steps need to be taken. This is an inconsequential step. It really makes no difference. The point basically is that here is unacceptable behavior by Pakistan, and the Prime Minister himself has said that, look, it can't be business as usual. I wish the government would stick to that, because they said that it wouldn't be business as usual after Mumbai, and it was business as usual. They said we wouldn't talk and wouldn't have the dialogue, composite dialogue, unless the perpetrators were brought to justice. Nothing happened. And this is what I fear, that you take a step which is inconsequential and then you get back into business as usual. So I would hope that the government of India would stick to it. I would agree with the Prime Minister that it can't be business as usual. Well, let's do.
But when you say stronger steps, are you saying that the High Commissioner should be recalled? Are you suggesting
there are look, the point is that there has been unacceptable behavior, and to me it isn't a surprise, because as far as Pakistan is concerned, behavior has been unacceptable for a long time. Even in the last 2 or 3 years, there have been ceasefire violations repeatedly. There have been incidents of terrorism repeatedly. Is that not unacceptable? And if that is so, then really we have to take steps to penalize Pakistan.
Such as what?
There is a whole gamut. I don't want to go into those. There are a number of steps, and I'm not talking about war. Short of war, there are many things that you can do, and really having movement of people, having Aman ki Asha is not going to help, because not that India doesn't want peace, and believe me, I have invested a large part of my career in trying to improve relationships. I have been involved in some of these
But
things.
you feel there's a mindset problem?
There is a problem on the other side in terms of a vested interest of the vast majority of the establishment in having an inimical relationship with you. So really we can't impose a good relationship on Pakistan. That's the problem.
I'm just going to take that briefly back to Mr. Iyer because you have a very different view from him. Mr. Iyer, how do you think that the people-to-people contact has helped? And you know, today we also got this news that the women's cricket team from Pakistan will not be allowed to play in an ICC event. It's not even a bilateral match. It's an ICC event that was being held here, the Women's World Cup. They're not going to come here. Hockey players are being sent back. You know, how important are these ties, sporting ties, cultural ties? And if you don't have them, isn't there a big vacuum?
If you stop 65-year-old Pakistanis from coming to India, you're not punishing only Pakistanis. You're punishing all those they were coming to see here. They are depriving an Indian brother, an Indian nephew, an Indian aunt of the opportunity of seeing a Pakistani relative. Then, as far as hockey is concerned, we just heard the Shiv Sena playing. We've driven them out of Maharashtra. Is Maharashtra not a part of India? Are we going to succumb to the kind of bullying tactics that are so characteristic of the way in which the Shiv Sena disports itself? And Satish says that we have a number of steps that we can take. I don't know what those steps are, but I'm sure he can tell us. But I don't see that taking these steps is going to improve the possibility of our being able to influence Pakistan one way or the other. And if you are going to axe your policy vis-a-vis Pakistan to those who are inimical towards India and not axe your policy on that vast segment of both of the population which wants good relations with India, and I disagree with him completely that a vast segment of the establishment has a vested interest in enmity. It used to. But a very vast segment is now shifting its position. If we do not leverage what is positive in the relationship to make it even better and allow the relationship to go into the hands of those who are inimical to good relations between India and Pakistan, whether they are in Pakistan or whether they are in India, then we may have the satisfaction we get of spitting at somebody you don't like. But I don't think you advance the cause which should be essential to us, which is that of having a more harmonious relationship with our neighbor, which I believe is feasible, but can only be attained by an uninterrupted and uninterruptible dialogue.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app, fully optimized for retina display, full screen view, faster response time, and Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.